that feeling of finding one last gummy bear in a bag of gummy bears. Feels nice. Uh, I'm aware that the focal point today is my camera, and there's been something kind of on my mind, and I don't know how to phrase it well or efficiently. And I don't do well just sitting alone with my thoughts trying to work them out. So playing like a Factory IO type game helps me stimulate my brain to help me just put thoughts together. Main thing that's been on my mind is how far have we come as just not as a nation, not as country, not as a political system, because I'm not about to get struck down by Twitch's TOS, but as humans, how far we have come, how far we've gone. Like, I have the privilege of just being able to talk into empty space and consider it a side hustle if I were to actually want to make money off of this, and if I were to actually get popular, which I kind of doubt, but it, never say never, I guess. Um, but let's just say 100 years ago, 2025 to 1925. What do we have now that they didn't? What kind of knowledge did we have that they didn't, and vice versa? And then 100 years before that, 1825. 100 years before that, 1725. I feel like as many steps of progression that we've made, we've also made steps backwards. It's like, it doesn't seem obvious in the way I talk and the way I act, at least not often, I don't think. But I am a believer in God as the Godhead, Jesus Christ, and the Holy Spirit. And that prayer can get you through some of the toughest times in your life, and that God is there for you in your darkest moments. And I feel like we relied upon that more in like 1725, 1825, maybe even 1925, more than we do now. Statistically, statistically, you see more older people going to church and staying in church and getting together with other believers as opposed to people my age. And I don't know what to do with that information. And I can kind of understand why, because up until about, I'm gonna say, oof, a month and a half ago. Um, I was a bit of an addict, not a hardcore addict, but like as I described it as to someone yesterday, I was I was addicted to a couple of things. One of them wasn't a Schedule One drug, um, which implies that one of them was a Schedule One drug. And to that, I'd say you are correct. Um, and a month and some ago, I had this, I'm gonna say epiphany. I'm not going to list off everything that happened. All I can say is that my mental, my emotional, my physical state was the lowest it had ever been, ever. And I had perhaps thrown a bike that I owned a couple of feet after it had popped a flat. It, again, it's a long story, not gonna get into it. All I know is that several hours later, I was laying in bed wondering how I had gotten there, how I had gotten to this awful mental, emotional state, why I felt like crap all the time, why I couldn't bring myself to talk to my parents more than a couple sentences at a time, uh, going to church and just talking to people, like going there to actually like listen to the message as opposed to just sitting out in the foyer and just disassociating. Why I wasn't happy, plain and simple. And I look back at the various decisions I'd made over a couple of years and realized that th- the problem wasn't everyone else, it was me. And that kind of hit me because I'd often blame my parents for the mental state I was in because of their, well, overall strictness, the couple of mistakes they've made in the past, and other things that I have been instructed clearly not to get into. Though we are trying to reconcile those things. Um, and the realization that my problems had all stemmed from my own rebellion, my own mind, my fault, it kind of hit me like a ton of bricks, or for the gun nerds out there, a 4-gauge slug to the face. I went from like laying in bed to just fully upright and just, what am I doing with my life? How did I let myself slip so egregiously far? And it was that moment that I knew I had to rededicate my life to what I knew was right. And a little bit of context. I had been raised in a incredibly Christian home. My first game console was a Game Boy Advance. I wasn't big into games until like, I'm gonna say 8, 9. So like still young, but like I didn't really play video games regularly. One, because parents were strict, duh, and two, because I would have more fun playing with Legos. Um, and it was around the I think it was 14, 15, 16 year mark that I started making some dumb decisions and being sneaky about it because of things that had happened prior that I'm not allowed to talk about. Um, and I think it was at, yeah, it was 2020 at 16. Quarantine had like just started. I was already kind of in a bit of a achy trust relationship with my parents, I'll say. And I had discovered um I don't think which POS would let me say it out loud, so give me a sec. Let's see. It's discovered that beginning to my journey of addiction. In 2021, I got my first job, and like a year and some after, I started using caffeine, which, yeah, pretty standard, yeah, but when you're relying on caffeine to wake up in the morning and then just to get through your day, and then you can't sleep at night, and then you have to go through the same cycle every single day for a couple of years, you start feeling a little bit trashy, you know? Like I tried to quit caffeine a couple of times, and the headaches got pretty bad. Um, and then not being able to drag myself out of bed in the morning, stuff like that. It let's just say it got pretty hopeless for a little bit. And then as an outlet, I tried making like music just to like take my mind off of things. And then I realized I didn't really have any real true struggles that would like make sense in music, so I just kind of made stuff up. It's fun while it lasted, I'll tell you what. Um, and then in 2024, last year, like I don't know this day is it? Yeah, it's would have been a year about now. Um, um, that I discovered weed. Um, and that hid so much pain, it wasn't even funny. And then, like, it started out really small. Like, I would only do it when I was hanging out with, like, a couple of buddies. and that was it. Can't really call them friends anymore. I don't really talk to them anymore because I don't want that influence on my life. But I digress. Um, to a point where I had almost completely rewired the chemistry of my brain. And I was a completely different human. Most people don't tell you that weed can do that. Like, before I was like completely like straight, right? I would have trouble looking at women and talking to them, but mainly because of the addiction. But nonetheless, women scared me because I was a guy who didn't really talk to women too often because of my rather strict household. Didn't really have too much opportunity, let's say. Um, and then right around my birthday of last year, I started thinking some really strange, just completely outlandish thoughts for me about like men seem kind of hot, and it was just all downhill from there. And pain of that, which I didn't realize was pain, um, mental pain and a little bit of emotional pain that brought onto me was immense, and I tried to drown it out with more weed, and that just made the problem worse, and it would get to a cycle of be in a bad mood, smoke, get in a worse mood, come off of it, and then still be in a bad mood despite not being high. And it was just a constant loop of pain. And sure, it would relax me for all of 2 minutes, and then I get these crazy, and I mean crazy spiraling thoughts of just, where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna die? Where are you gonna go? Where are you gonna die? You're going to hell. And I would have like, oof, can't get to that part right yet. But it is an important part of the tale. Point where I couldn't interact with people without being high. And I would often get incredibly high while I was, let's say, not at home. The week before I had to turn my life around, I got sick, right? Like I spiked a bit of a fever, and I'm struggling to put this together properly. I'm usually pretty good with words. Um, I realize I'm not playing the game. I'm just kind of looking at what I've made. Thought it would help me put together words, but apparently it's just distracting me. Anyway, before I get completely off track, I was feeling kind of sick, spiked a bit of a fever, but before I had spiked the fever, I tried to like take like a NyQuil capsule to fall asleep, and then in combination with me spiking a fever of 102, um, made me experience what, if you remember the first stream I did, the NyQuil ego death, of where I basically got transported to hell and had demons laughing at me, saying you were this close to salvation and you threw it away. And I tried to ignore that for a couple of days until I had a pretty much emotional breakdown, which I described, and realized I needed to get my life back together. And I stopped everything. No more caffeine, no more weed, no more stuff. Even remember what started that entire path of rebellion. Like, I remember the rebellion, but I don't remember the decision in my mind to just curve off. And back to what the beginning of this entire conversation was about. How did we, what makes us just so rebellious to not want to accept that we need God to keep us on the right path? What causes that just indignation? Like, it baffles me, and I'm the one who went through it. You'd think I'd have like a little bit of understanding of what decisions were made mentally to have that happen. But no, I don't remember much of anything. You could probably blame part of that because of the weed, but I guess what I'm trying to say is that how did we, as a nation, as populace, choose such just violent indignation to understanding that we need salvation, despite what our background is? And if anything, the people that don't have that biblical, scriptural background come to it so much easier than people who were raised with it, usually. At least that's what I've seen. And first generation Christians, some of the most righteous people I've met are first generation Christians. I don't see many second generation Christians, sometimes because of what their parents did or what they discovered or yin, yang, yang, anything. The path diverges so immensely, and I don't see them come back. What causes this sheer loss of direction? And that's just plain and simply our indignation to sin. Plain and simply. I didn't realize just how easy, just how bafflingly easy it is to fall so far so fast. Rightfully, I still struggle. I still struggle. But I know now that I can have a rock to stand on, as opposed to my own shaky self-belief in that I need to get things done myself. I guess I'm kind of doing this for more the YouTube audience than the actual Twitch audience because I'm kind of talking into dead space. But someone needs to hear this. I don't know who, but you can come back. It's a simple surrender. Your mind will overcomplicate it, thinking that you'll never be enough, but that's the beauty of it. You aren't enough. God doesn't care about that. He just wants you to do the very best that you can to trust Him and to give your problems to Him. There will always be problems, but relying only on yourself is the worst thing you can do about it because you will drive yourself insane. You'll wonder where your life went. And I don't want you to have to go through the long road I did of not realizing that you're physically not able to do it by yourself. Of being incapable of understanding that we need help. We need help that no other human can provide or will ever be able to provide. Humans can give us temporary comfort. A thought that'll keep you going for maybe another day or two. But God has kept me on the right path without me having to try very hard. Yes, I have struggled, like I said. I thought, what if I just went back for one more day, and then I remember that I won't be able to stop if I relapse. And through Christ, He gives me the strength to say, I will not go back. I cannot go back. And He puts people in my path to help me through that battle. people who will pray for me, people who will care for me, people who will just give you a shoulder to cry on. God cares about you. He really, truly does. And he wants you to come to him. His arms are open. The door is unlocked. All you have to do is walk through the threshold. It's as simple as that. You sound like a madman. You can call me crazy. But I know that God was the only one that was going to save me out of the pit I was in. Plain and simple. To hear that, I'm praying for you. I'm praying. Don't know how to explain this, but it feels like there's a weight that's just gone now. I don't know why it was put on my heart to share that, but I guess I needed to because weight that I've been feeling since I woke up is kind of gone. I feel more at peace. I don't really want to end stream because I do kind of want to share this game as well. But I needed to get my testimony out there. And I have no doubt that there's going to be several questions as to the details that I have not shared, but that's for another day and probably not a Twitch stream. Thought about like doing like a Discord, but I have no way of promoting it because I don't really have. I don't have. I don't exactly have notoriety yet, or if I will ever have much. But again, that's not for me to. It's not for me to break my back trying to do. I just wait and do what I can. And right now, the most I can do is just put my voice out there and hope maybe someone hears it sooner or later. And maybe I should actually show you properly what the game looks like. Um, if you've ever heard of like Mindustry or Factorio or any of the games like that, it's kind of like that. It's called Widget Incorporated or Widget Inc. Um, it it's a fun game if you're into building things and then waiting forever for them to actually become useful. Because like you start with an iron mine, an iron smelter, and a widget factory. And to make widgets, you need iron, and to get iron, you need an iron mine. So you can kind of figure it out from there. Everything comes back down to these three things. Right now, I'm up to year 4 on the tech tree. And I have played this game before, and I kind of soft locked myself. So I'm being a little bit more diligent in factory placement, or I should say widget placement. Managing those resources is it is fun to my goofy little brain. Warehouses, because you start with a base storage of 100 and you need these to upgrade how much you can hold of each tier of item. But today I'm thinking I need to maybe not do that. Need to expand my copper mines. And then what do I need for circuits? Yeah, I need copper and plastic. Let's quickly make some more copper. Plonk it there. You're wondering why I have certain things placed the way I do. Um, the basic widget factory, if you'll read, increases productivity by 40% if placed adjacent to exactly one other widget factory. And then iron mines increase productivity by 40% when placed on rocks. And I have a bunch of these tiles, these rock tiles, surrounding a mountain. So I placed a bunch of just iron mines on each and individual one of those. I don't even know what that was. Okay. What was I saying? Right. Increasing productivity. The iron mines are placed on rocks, and I think this is let's check. Yeah, it's a tier 2 item that if you place it adjacent to rocks, it gets a 60% crafting speed. So I just place them around my iron mines. And then the oil fields get a bonus if you place them on swamps, and oil power plants get 100% generation speed when placed next to an oil field and another oil power plant. So I kind of have this weird, screwy, like, amalgam of things being placed there. And the gyroscope fabricators, which are used in turn to make the widget spinners, get a bonus when placed next to a glass kiln, and glass kilns get a bonus when placed to exactly 2 other glass kilns. So it's just like, you get the idea. It's a little complicated, and everything relies on placement. I wasn't very good at that in my first playthrough. I was just making pain block grids of just lines of everything. And so I'm just putting things that don't get bonuses at the moment off to the side so I can make space for things that do get bonuses. Um, yeah. So there's so much. Okay. Let's see if I can't make some more of these. Now let's research my tech tree. Okay. Now, if you're wondering how I'm doing this, I have an upgrade that just allows me to hold control and click on the widgets that need upgrading so that it automatically upgrades them. Considering that I've been letting this save just ruminate for, I think it's been a day, maybe 2 days and some. So I think most of my stuff is, yes, it is maxed out for the most part. And it doesn't really matter what I build, it will just keep going back up because of the productivity. And so let's get as many upgrades as humanly possible without putting me into the red. Before getting up to tier 5, going to have to make several more tier 4 widget factories. Oh, heavens. And for those that like Easter eggs, some of the widgets have secret buttons that you can press. I discovered this by accident when don't kill me, but I have an auto clicker that makes some of the manual making some of the manual crafting of the resources a little easier when you're just starting out with a new widget. And I was let me minimize it. I turned it on this, and apparently when you over exceed the pressurization on this bar, it makes a little thing pop out. And I'm like, huh, how many more widgets down the line actually do this? And apparently there's like 8 or 9 of them to do that. And ooh, I don't remember all of them. I know there's a Steam community post about it, and hopefully I can find that, and like once YouTube lets me post links, I will probably put a link to that Steam article in like a post or something. I don't know. For anyone who's actually interested in that type of thing. How are we doing on... Yeah, it's tier 3. How much oil are we consuming? Okay, theoretical maximum per second is 111.6. Okay. Interesting. So what would happen if I double the amount of plastic we make because it requires oil? Okay, that put a huge dent in our capacitor widgets, but oil is actually recovering pretty quick. I should probably move. Oh, I forgot to upgrade my sand pits. But once I do that, I'm going to have to move my capacitor widgets to a new zone. Is there a productivity upgrade for them? Doesn't look like it. Let's quickly get some upgrades for everything else. Let's get tier 4 mastery, which each tier has a mastery where crafting things by hand with the little mini games that they have gives you a little bit of a bonus to how many resources you get per. But in the long run, not super duper helpful unless you're just starting out with that tier. But if you kind of put yourself in the red, you can kind of bring yourself back a little bit if you do it for like hours on end. And I'm just gonna get every upgrade I can. Allows you to highlight all frames of oh. How highlight? Let's check. Allows you to highlight all frames of let's just see if it. Oh. Okay. Very nice. We focus on actually making our tier 4 stuff good. since I can't really think of things to say, I'm just gonna start telling random stories about my life, such as why I fidget with my wrist so often. Um, uh, this is 20 late 2018 or early 2019. I don't remember, but we had a hoverboard. Y'all remember when hoverboards were actually popular? I do. Um, I also remember the articles about them blowing up because their batteries weren't manufactured very well. Um, but we had a hoverboard, one of the good ones, i.e., our mother did extensive research on which ones were more reputable. Um, and we had the thing for, I'm gonna say 3 weeks, and I was riding it around on the sidewalk. I go to stop, I don't stop, and the thing slips up from under me, and I go to catch myself with my wrist, and I felt my wrist go like way back very quickly. And I'm like, yeah, that hurt. I get back on it, and I keep going for like another 5 minutes. I'm like, wrist really hurts. So I decide to take the hoverboard inside with my good hand, and I say, tell my mom, hey, I fell off the hoverboard. My wrist hurts. You got like ice? And she said two things. One, we need to get you some like wrist guards or something. And two, yes, we have an ice pack. So I just kind of sit on the couch, icing my wrist for like 30 minutes. Still hurts. And I'm like, well, my wrist still hurts. And she's like, I have a wrist brace. If that might help, we'll just slap that on your wrist. Um, because we have to go somewhere. It didn't involve me moving my wrist at all. We were just going to like a banquet. So I was like, I still wanted to go, so I slapped the brace on, and I went. Like 2 hours later, my wrist is in such unbelievable pain that I can't move it without feeling like there is literal lightning bolts shooting through it. And I'm like, Mom, my wrist is in a bad spot right now. And she's like, what do you mean? And I described the exact pain to her, and she's like, okay, yeah, we're gonna go home, and then we're gonna take you to a place to get your wrist x-rayed tomorrow. Um, we go home. I try to fall asleep with my wrist just kind of laying off to the side, just waiting for it to stop hurting so I can fall asleep. Uh, I didn't get very much sleep that night, obviously. Um, and tomorrow we go to. I don't think it's still that place. I think it's a UPMC now, but we had this thing called an ABC All Better Care, something like that. And we got that X-rayed, that wrist X-rayed. The doctor's like, yeah, I don't see any cracks, but like you might have cracked your growth plate. I don't know, cause like there doesn't seem to be anything terribly wrong with it. Does it still hurt? And I'm like, yeah, it still hurts. It's like you might have strained it, minor sprained something, because like it did look a tiny bit swollen, but like nothing crazy. So the doctor just said, yeah, just don't do anything too crazy with your wrist. We'll give you a better brace that fits better. And I'm like, cool, thank you. And that thing takes 2 whole weeks to stop hurting. Like, oh my word. Because like a week later, it had stopped hurting a little bit, and I'm like, my mom's like, okay, we have to do yard work. I'm like, Cool. Okay. Guess I'm doing yard work. Shouldn't have done the yard work. Shouldn't have done the yard work. Made the wrist start hurting so unbelievably bad again. Um, Needless to say, every injury I've had after that, my mom has said, "Don't do anything. I swear, you do anything that is remotely strenuous, I am going to belt you." She doesn't actually say that. She just very, very, very protective of how much damage I have done to my body now, especially considering some of my other incidences. Considering I fell off and hurt this wrist again, falling off a skateboard, like in 2023, and it wound up dislocating my elbow in the same deft blow, and that had like a whole almost month of recovery. So that was delightful. Um, some of the stupidest things that have managed to happen have happened to specifically my wrist, and I don't know why. I was just like, well, probably gonna have arthritis in that later, but I probably have arthritis in it now, considering it hurts almost all the time. Not badly, but like still hurts. Um, is that freaking chat message ever gonna go away, or is that just my my? You know what? I'm not gonna worry about it. Uh, sure. Just going to make everything as streamlined as possible. Well, I guess so we just have a bunch of that now. Let's compensate for that by making some more copper mines. Okay, that definitely put a stint in our computational widgets and batteries. Okay, reserve the island for sand. Let's move our batteries over here. What do these take? Iron, widgets, and power. So we should be okay to make a bunch of these. These things are not great at output. It all uses batteries. I guess. Those use batteries? Do these? No. Do these? No. So I just need a ton more batteries. This is gonna be great. capacitor widgets theoretical max output's 19.3 a second. Oh my word. Get okay. Hydrophobia at tier 5. I don't even know. Dedicated battery inserters at tier 5. Rapid discharge fabricators at tier 5. 1 second. Logistics hub. Gotta try something. Might put me in the hole. I don't know. Oh, Lord have mercy. So far, we're able to churn out enough production-wise to make these function. Only to a certain degree. Might have to do the same thing with the capacitor widgets, but to a much smaller degree. Okay. Boy. Start our battery production massively. Um, okay. We're we're breaking even. We're breaking even there. Here we're definitely doing over under. Our iron production's a little sketchy though. Gonna have to place some more coal mines. Uh, just to get built. Word. What does our iron production look like? Oh, we're breaking even. Stay here. Wait for a minute. Eat some nondescript licorice.
smelter.
It'll be fine. Pleasant. Okay. I don't know what that did to the audio capture, but I kind of don't care. At least not right now. Why in the world? Theoretically. We could definitely make some more iron smelters. See how badly this kills us. It's more widget busters. This is it's gonna be delightful. Ah. What happened to our battery production? It like dipped. Now it's going back up. That was weird. Okay. Power and oil is constantly fluctuating, so I can see those, but we've reached our max there. Everything else. So I have to actually build something for us to see what our workload is. Definitely crap things, but it takes us a freaking long time sometimes. Just quickly. Going down. Going up, I should say, because we need more of this. We need more of tier 1 than we do of tier 4 currently. Let us also quickly scoot this over there. We're ready. Wow. Okay. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's gonna help. That's gonna help. It's gonna help. Oh, so we gotta be careful where we place batteries now. First, we gotta find a plot of land to place the new stuff. Fetch the coil, or foundry, and an integrator. Power and glass. See what this is doing to our power production. Practically nothing. Crazy. We are practically perfectly keeping our power at a very consistent rate. Go with the core foundry. Okay. This one was fun. Quickly. Very good at reflex tests, can you tell? Yeah, that's gonna really drastically slow me down, so I just gotta... This is taking 110% of my concentration. If I talk, I start screwing up. Oh my word, this one. Hmm. Thing. We could focus on these. Pretty sure the auto clicker doesn't help here. Yeah, no. Just be a consistent, steady click. Alright. Black licorice. Don't know why. Apparently, as I learned last night, there is such a place called licorice.com. I don't need another place to spend my money. I really don't. For these, I think you can guess what brand they are. They're the cheapest ones I can get. Well, completely busting my budget. Next to Good and Plenty's. But I do want like some like traditional black licorice. If I can find it. And like a candy store. Be awesome. Okay. Drop by the candy store, I know that's just like near the town square. Let me see if they have some traditional black licorice. Uh, so before I can even think about making more of these, I need to make more of these. More computational widgets too. And then what were the other widgets? Oh, Lord of mercy. Um, let's quickly. This in the most like landlocked position I can find. I want to place it on rocks in case I need it for later. Guess you're going there for now. And then let's get this. Quickly, instead of chewing on it, because my teeth are starting to hurt a little bit from the chewing. Let's just roll this bad boy up. Perfect. Interesting. There we go. Oh, a bit better. Increases the effectiveness of the logistics hub by 10% for each adjacent warehouse. It also increases power draw by 20%. Interesting. Trying to figure out how I'd make that work. This thing. So the rear ring. What should be saying on it? bunch of those then. Now, why'd I go and do that? Keep it for now, and we'll improve on the design later. All I know is that we need to do a mass. How did I go and screw that up? Think that fixed it? Again, we shall improve on the design later. Right now, I need more of those. Gracious. So need switch these to there. Copper gets a bonus when placed on rocks. So I'm gonna have to place a bunch of these onto there. make work somehow. Y'all might see more of this later, I don't know. But right now, I just want to focus on making the widgets as opposed to making the widgets and talking. So